Yes, ma'am, we are live now.
A very good evening to each and everyone. Today is a special day and moment when we are with one of key mentor figure and a legend of obstetrician and gynecologist, as well as a human being, Dr. Hema Divakar with us. Welcome, Dr. Hema Divakar. It is a great pleasure to have you in the series Talk and Walk with Legends. It's a great pleasure that I enable me to share the screen. Yes. Dr. Hema Divakar, who has been one of the most important voice in Ob-Gyn, not only at the India, but across the nation and across the boundaries. It's a great honor that everybody know the person like Dr. Hema Divakar, how they are being framed and formed. You must be knowing Dr. Hema's many aspects, but today we will go a little deep insight into her life. So Dr. Hema Divakar, born on 28 September 1959. She was born in Bengaluru. Her father was in high position in textile industry and mother professor in Bombay. So she had all her education right from schooling to graduation and post-graduation in medicine from Bombay. She did her DGO and MD from 1986 to 1989 from Wadia Maternity Hospital, Mumbai. There were great family values where there was a gender neutrality or the equal opportunities and right for it, a joyful family, and that came to the further steps in her life after her marriage when she was married to Dr. Divakar, who is one of the very known person amongst us, and she shifted to Bengaluru again to where she was born. And she was a little bit reluctant because at that time, Bombay was a bigger place, fashionable place, and the Bengaluru was a conventional. Yet her journey in the Bengaluru was noteworthy as she very soon established Divakar Specialty Hospital along with Dr. G.K. Divakar, and she was honorary secretary Bengaluru Society of Ob-Gyn in 1990, and 2000 she was president. But the journey, which was started at a very small note, had a very long way and the important milestones to be achieved from a conventional family which believes in the truthfulness, values, to the work for the social cause and work at the various professional organizations. So during her practice, she was very soon she determined that it is not only our clinical practice in our hospital which will make a difference. There must be something overall change in the society, overall change into the healthcare system. And she started her pursuit by giving scientific deliberations, lectures at academic meetings. We all know, almost everybody must have felt that how eloquent a speaker she is and how she puts her points and arguments in any meeting, be it a scientific deliberation, be it a managing committee meeting. And at the same time, she also indulged into the research work, which actually she perceived at a very early point in her life that it is a research publication which makes your imprint on your professional career. She had a great journey in FOGSI with positions of chair, FOGSI Perinatology Committee, FOGSI Vice President and ICOG Secretary, FOGSI President 2013, and the President DIPSI. My association with Dr. Hema was when she was a chair FOGSI Perinatology Committee. And what I remember is still, she came to Gorakhpur for the first ever conference on adolescence. She came by train from the flight to train. And when she came back, I still have that handwritten letter that I go many places, but this feeling was so different. And at that moment of time, when you are too young, how these things matter. And it was a great saying about Dr. Hema Divakar that how she considered people important, how she recognizes and how she appreciates the work whosoever is there in the professional organization, be it a very, very young person in a very new society. She had a mark of her hard work and innovative ways. In her FOGSI presidential theme, it was ABCDE, that is anemia eradication, building contraceptive choice, cancer cervix screening and HPV vaccination, diabetes care, and emergency obstetrical care skilled. I can say that as far as me personally is concerned, that was her presidential year, which made in my personality a sea change. She was much before the COVID era. It was almost 10 years ago. She could thought of giving the messages using IT technology for reminder for HPV vaccination. She could think of the diabetes, which was not at all a discussed subject, and how forcefully she used to put her points when people say, no, it is not in our country, that every woman, every pregnant woman should be screened for the diabetes, for the gestational diabetes mellitus. She put the simple changes along with Dr. Sheshia, Dr. Kapoor. So we have the DIPSI test, which is now recognized all over the world, and the Helping Mother Survive program, that is the emergency obstetrical care, special focus on the active management of third stage of labor, on the PPH, on the eclampsia management. So it was apparently it was a very, very simple program, but how it impacted all over the country, it was something which today's who have joined the federation late might not understood so well. She had a wider responsibilities ahead, and she is taking over new and the larger and larger responsibility. She is a technical advisor of Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and whenever you open JOI meeting, you will find Dr. Hema's name in the thyroid dysfunction in pregnancy, in the gestational diabetes mellitus in pregnancy, and Dr. Hema is always there for a full voice for the advocacy for the right cause. She has been chair breastfeeding and nutritional working group SAFOG, national coordinator for the Manyata. This Manyata journey, right from M4M to the Utkrash to the Manyata, which is now going to up to 2,000 plus facilities, that was a brainchild of Dr. Hema. And we could see the bravery, the way she fought for Manyata, the way she broke the barriers, the way she had that confidence. That training of our paramedical nurses is so very important in giving quality obstetrical care. And now Manyata is a known momentum on the front of the FOGSI. She has a great international presence, FOGSI representative to FIGO, co-chair FIGO and CD committee, chair breastfeeding and nutritional working group SAFOG, and chair FIGO Well Women. She is the voice to be heard with respect and with attention. A lot of awards to her credit, like FIGO Women Achiever Award, Icon of Healthcare Award Singapore, Social Entrepreneurship Award from USAID and MSD, Lifetime Achievement Award by DIPSI, Global Asian of the Year 2018, and the FOGSI Award for Excellence in Capacity Building. But actually, in a real term, she is beyond award. Her voice and her persona is an institution in itself, and she walks and talks for our country need and an average woman and an average obstetrician gynecologist of our country. Apart from being eminent clinician and a surgeon, Dr. Hema Divakar could pursue philanthropy and the research hand in hand. Artist, which talks about the academics, research and training, and we can see that she is reaching in and out to rural people, to the masses, and she's always on the go. How she mixes so easily with the all age group people, with all class of people, it is something difficult to see if you don't see it really. Alternative approaches have been always her interest. She herself a classical dancer, a classical music expert, and when she was organizing conferences, we could still remember how she brought up the cultural award, like Dr. Mr. Subramaniam, and we have listened a very, very classical artist in her conference because she believes that our art and the classical music is the way to joy and way to the supreme. Besides this, she had postgraduate diploma in medical law and ethics, master degree in alternative medicine, PG diploma in preventive and promotive healthcare. She has been awarded FRCOG and honorary fellowship of Sri Lankan Perinatology Society. With this, she has always been rooted to her culture, to her values, blessed with a son, and we will just like to have with this very, very vast journey on the multi fronts and the multiple platforms, how she could cope up with the duties of a mother and for a daughter and for a sister. It is something to be learned from her. And with this, it is not the legacy which she leaves in her family or in her city. It is a legacy which she transmits through us. And what I have learned from you, what she tells, have a mission in life and work for it, because there is no alternative to hard work. And life is to be enjoyed in a full strength and power by the sheer virtue of hard work and commitment. And you must face the difficult situation with courage and determination and believe in yourself. So it is Dr. Hema's legacy, which is going which we can say it can be the direct legacy and it can be the indirect legacy, because she is the personified thing, what we say, be strong, because somebody might be following you, and be somebody's strength, and be somebody's reason never to give up. So it is Dr. Hema Divakar with us. And before we go to her heart-to-heart talk, we wish to have few initial comment from Dr. Hema Divakar.
Namaskar. Thank you, Sadhana. The most challenging thing in the last week has been when you asked me to put some of my own material together to send it to you, and she kept on hounding. It's a gentle but firm reminder. I need some more pictures. I need some more information about you. And believe me, I think you have really, really done a marvelous job in unfolding the life of Dr. Hema Divakar, because I never usually look back at what has happened. I live in the present and move forward, and wherever the journey takes me, I just go with a positive mindset and then great optimism and hope, because there's always something more in store for us. So congratulations to you, first of all, who has conceptualized this event, and also very sincerely, very meticulously cared to tap the 360-degree nuances in somebody's life. And this is really not an easy task. So thank you so much for having me here with you. And as you said, two important things. It's a heart-to-heart talk, and we are the kind of people, Sadhana, who walk the talk. So let's walk together, even through the deliberations and the dialogues in this show as well. And I do hope that there will be more lessons for all of us to learn. And together, with the synergy and synchrony, I think we will be able to make this world a better place.
Thank you, Dr. Hema, because what I say that people must be interested that how the person like Hema, who can do such a large, like a multiple thing in a very short span, how they are being framed and formed. And it is always good to look into a little bit insights into the life. So, Dr. Hema, we will start right from the beginning. Your father, you were South Indian, and at that time, it was all like we still, it was all we say Madrasi. So you belong to Karnataka, yet your father was in Bombay and your mother was in a teaching profession, and you got into the medical profession. So how this actually being exposed to the different state, the different languages, different language at the home, different at the schooling, and how it framed the exposure to different profession and the different situation in framing you. How do you think when you look back?
I think there was nothing structured as in the framing aspect of it, because no matter what the profession the father and mother come from, it's the teachings which always hold a very special meaning and value for us. And for us, it was always education as the prime, and the values of honesty and being truthful to yourself. Many a times when we attempt to do our best, many times I've been told, nobody's asking you to do this, or nobody's looking at what really you're doing with paying attention to so many details, but why? But for me, the teachings right from the beginning have been that you are the judge for your own actions. And if you believe that you have not done your best, then that is not done. So no matter whether you get an appreciation or a criticism for whatever you do, you be honest to yourself that you've done your best. So that was the kind of ambience or atmosphere we grew in, and we knew nothing more rather than education and doing our best and being contributory to whatever we do and give ourselves away with the best that one could do. So that was the kind of mindset. And you know that like 6 years ago, it's boys for engineering and girls for medicine, with my grandfather being a doctor and so many in the family being a doctor. It was inevitable. Though personally, having the merit, I was ready to either jump into home science and fine arts or medicine, just the two extremes. I had no fixated or biased ideas, and I said, whatever I take, I will do my best in that. So that's how we moved ahead with the degree in medicine. It was almost by default, because that's what most meritorious girls would do. And I don't think that we really thought very, very strongly or very hard about what if or what if not. Just went with the flow. It's like the Nike, just do it. So that's the kind of attitude which I've maintained, I think, in many things that I do. Just jump into it and then learn your lessons, and things will take you ahead.
So I think two important things you have said. First of all, whatever you do the best. So anybody else might be contented, but we must be critical for ourselves, because we have set certain standard. Secondly, be with the flow. But yet I will like to intervene at this point. You say that one extreme was home science and finance. So many times I have talked to you personally that always I'm not good at cooking. I'm very skeptical of cooking, and SPM, you did not recognize certain pulses, and you were also like answered back that if you are not cooking, then my brother is also not cooking. So just a point about it before we go. You say that home science and finance were also your choice. Finance, yes, we can understand. You are good at finance. But a little bit about cooking at this point of time. Home science, I cannot imagine with you.
You have just really deep dived into all my secrets, Sadhana. When I said two extreme choices, it just goes to show whether it's art or science, they're like two sides of the coin and doesn't even really matter. So if I would have gone into fine arts, because my mother always wanted me to be an excellent classical dancer, there was Nalanda School of Performing Arts, and many people in Mumbai who used to live in our apartments were quite taken aback that I left the dancing career and I've gone into medicine. So that, whereas in the city of Bangalore and in south of India, after I got into the profession, many here thought, oh, she was also doing the classical dance before, because they knew only of my medical side of it. So it's like the mix of it. But you're right. Yes, there was no gender divide as such. And if her mom wants my brother to study, she wanted me also to study equally well. And there was even as on today, I was just telling some guests who were home this evening that once before I had made a commitment in one of the workshops that I attended. What have you not done before, and what will you promise yourself to do? So I said, I have never cooked before, and I want to prepare 100 breakfasts. Okay. Then there was a microwave, and I said, oh, I've gone and committed to this. Why did I even do it? And then every day I used to put one papad into that microwave, and I said, okay, I've cooked something. Okay, so there's one papad coming out every day. And I did it 100 times because I had committed to that 100 times. That was where I was. But in the COVID time, I was watching a television serial, and the hero of the serial was looking at the YouTube and trying to do some cooking. So that was the very first time. I do not think anybody would believe it, but that was the very first time I also opened the YouTube and said, how to make rice in the pressure cooker. That I went into the YouTube, and as you said, skeptical. I was skeptical. Somehow kept the cooker and watched out for the number of whistles, like how we watched the oxytocin drip during the labor, looking at the watch and okay, the drip. That was the kind of experience just about 3 years ago. So that is my story about cooking. When they say, oh, you seem to be doing so many things, you're interested in so many things, there was one gap. I always thought that I was not interested, that was cooking. Somehow there was a gap, but COVID taught me some lessons in the cooking too. And I said, oh, this is simple. This is easy. This is not too bad. And luckily, the family never expected that I would get into the typical role of doing all the household chores, etc. So they said, oh, this anybody can do, but looking after the patients, doing the surgeries, only, the competent people. So go and spend your energies and time there. And not even my son, he knew I loved teaching, and right from his childhood, teaching was my only connect. And of course, playing with him, going on the toy train and all kinds of crazy games in the parks, etc. So that was what I am made of, and that was what it is. And he also never seemed to mind that, oh, my mom cannot cook. He's quite proud of the other achievements that his mother did. And so that was how it was. So at 60 plus, if somebody sees the YouTube and thinks how to make rice from that is something strange. And luckily I got into a family where nobody did comment that, oh, she can't do it. And when guests come home, or there is an official meeting at home, for example, then people are looking, Dr. Divakar has not come. Dr. Divakar has not come. So I said, why do you want him? You have come to discuss something official with me. No, madam, we wanted just a cup of coffee. That's why we're looking for Divakar. So that was what it was, because they knew that this lady cannot even, think of such thing. So it just that, by the way, it happened. And that was one of the things I never got to pay any attention to. But when I did, I thought, okay, this is like doable, not too bad. So it was one change of mindset and the challenge that I thought. So that also taught me that things may look challenging, but when you jump into it and determined to do, yeah, you can do it.
So one very, very important point for everyone. that even if you don't know anything, don't feel guilty about it. So what Dr. Hema says, she is so frank, and everybody accepted the way she is. So something which is that no defined role model is for anyone. It is not like any sex role behavior or something or some expectation. If whatever you are comfortable, whatever you are good at, give with the full energy. And there is no point of time, any point of time, you can learn anything. You can, if it is really needed, you can learn anything. So that is very, very important, because many, especially the women, are professional women, are having a lot of guilt that we did not do this, and we are not doing this, and they're like their energy get dissipated. So be confident of your goodness, what you say, and be confident of you, what you don't know, because there may be many things who will be there to help you out. There will be many person who will be are there for you. So with this, from Mumbai, Bangalore to Mumbai, and then again to Bengaluru. So how was it when you're shifting from Mumbai city, which have a different culture, with the Karnataka, which is still, this is what we say, we have a lot of traditional values in dress up, in everything. How was your initial life into the Bengaluru when you started practice, establishing hospital, and how easily you could like do all the things like being secretary and president of Bengaluru Society of Ob-Gyn? So what, just
yeah, marriage brought me into Bangalore, and it was one of the things that probably I'd never, I can't say I never wanted it, because, I believe that everything happens for a reason. And as little children, the last day of the exams in school, the train tickets used to be booked to visit the grandparents, because mom always wanted to spend, even one single day she would not leave, and when we have to join back school, then we stay back. And then we used to say, oh, what a city this is. This is not even a city. It's like a big village. It's so quiet, and, there's hardly anything, because it was really a garden city with pensioners' paradise. And then they say, oh, do you know what? In Bangalore, there are no fans in the houses. Why? Because people didn't need them. It was like such a lovely weather, and we didn't appreciate the weather that time. We thought that this is really like a village or a rural type of a situation, because we were always used to the fans running 24/7 in Mumbai. So with that mindset, by the time we went into high school, then we told our parents, no, y'all can go for the summer holidays to Bangalore, but we are not coming. So we used to stay by ourselves, because we not really like to come to this big city or a village, as we would call it. So, but when I came into Bangalore after marriage, it was full deep dive into profession. And there was really, really no time to think about which city I'm living in, because work was, was my whole and soul core field of interest. And here the practice also picked up fairly quickly, because I was one of the few who could speak very good Hindi and Marathi and Gujarati, because we were in Mumbai, and and I was the only one who was available on Saturdays and Sundays, and also available on all the festival days, because I'm not the ritualistic, the puja type. So in Bangalore, you can imagine 40 years back, there were many female gynecologists who couldn't take off from home, from the commitments there on important festivities. So that's how my practice built up, primarily, because that was a niche segment where people couldn't find anybody, so they came to me, and that's how it grew. But I used to always grumble, I wish Bombay is such a happening place, why did I come to Bangalore? For 2-3 years this went on, and Dr. S.N. Daftari, who was my professor, when he came to visit, he said, this is the last time I'm hearing, no, sir, but I was so much interested in teaching. All that I wanted to do is to complete my post-graduation and join Wadia Medical College as a teacher, and, reach the professorial position and stay there. No, but you have established your own hospital. You can make this a teaching institution. And what prevents you from doing that? Come, let's find out who else from Mumbai is in Bangalore. Then he just saw the telephone directly. At that time, it was an era of landlines. And then he said, oh, this is Dr. Sita Batija. She is from Mumbai. I know that. So it just rang her up. Hello, Dr. Vatija. I have my student here from Bangalore, from Mumbai, and then we want to come and meet you. I said, sir, how can we just go and meet her? Then we went and met her. Then I recognized that she's from the same medical college, say GS Medical College, but she graduated, postgraduated before I was born. That much was the age difference. And then she had the CTG machine newly bought because she was the leading practitioner and all the new gadgets had to be with her. She said, but I have nobody to do it. So with her connection, I used to go twice a week over there only to do the NST for her patients because there was nobody else to do the job. And I feel, it was such a, routine that we were doing in our institution back in Mumbai. Look at what a place Bangalore is. It doesn't even have this facility in, for the patients, etc. So that mindset is what I came with. But with the initial connections there, I got into the positions of, the office bearers of the Bangalore Society. And as I said, it's always that I want to give my best. People here were exceedingly supportive because they thought some young, crazy girl has come from Mumbai. She looks to be very active, energetic, aggressive, and she's doing a lot of work and she's getting things moving. So there was no kind of a dissent that she's an outsider or she's come. They all knew that my mother tongue was Kannada and I belonged to Karnataka, etc. So, there was a very smooth gelling with all the senior members here and all the junior ones. And then I was the first one to say that, no, that was the slide projection with the floppy before the pen drives came, the era of the flop. I said, no, and when I'm the secretary of Bangalore Society, I'm not giving you the rotating slide deck, and we are getting the computer and we are making the slides on this floppy, and everybody will use this audiovisual system. We will sanction extra money for it. So some of the overseas guests who came, oh, you don't have a slide deck? No, but we have a computer. So that was like, proud showcasing of what we could do. And then many said, no, we cannot make slides on the computer and put it on a floppy, etc. I said, I will make it for you. So that's how, I learned my slide making skills with people coming home. And then, I finish practice at 9:30, 10 in the night and come, and then they come. And then, many times Divakar used to wake up at 2 a.m. and say, what is happening? Because the colleague of mine is sitting next to me, but her head is on the table. She's fast asleep. And Hema Divakar is making the slides for her. Those kind of situations. But I loved it. I loved everything that I did at that point in time. These are very interesting recalls of these episodes. And that's how the interest in doing more and more with the technology, and we have to excel and do the best in competition, healthy competition with the forward-looking countries of the West, and we should showcase ourselves in good light. That was how it went on. And then after about a very good tenure with the Bangalore Society Office Bearers, I was too junior when I started, way too junior. I was a toddler, in fact, and there were many who helped me rehearse my presentations. I used to always go to Dr. Gomati and Dr. Narayanan and Dr. Padma Rao from Manipal to check out whether I'm saying, and they were very critical of what I was doing right and whatnot. And 100 times if I used to rehearse, my end point was everybody in the house knows and repeats the same thing as how I'm doing in a scientific deliberation. To that extent, I would be loudly rehearsing the presentations. And then when it comes to that, then I know that, yes, now I have, rehearsed enough. So those were the days. And I think all that criticism and advice and the wise further steps that the guidance that I had really helped me a lot. And Dr. Suresh and Indrani from Mediscan, I was very passionate when Dr. Daftari said you have to start teaching in your own institute. We established the Divakar's Mediscan Training Center because there was no scan ultrasound training in Karnataka 32 years back. Suresh Indrani used to come, stay overnight Saturday, Sunday at my residence, and they used to love my mother's cooking, and they used to train the students and go back and weekend after weekend this happened, and that's how we grew. And once when I went to Philippines and they said, oh, she is a fellow in perinatology. I was a chairperson of perinatology, but I had not done my fellowship in perinatology. You know, it was, they introduced me as a fellow in perinatology. Next day, they took me to their institute. They said, see, these are our trainees and the fellows in perinatology. Then when I came back and I was ICOG secretary, I said, Philippines is having a course in perinatology fellowship. Why can't ICOG start a course in perinatology fellowship? They said, well, you can try, but you know, we don't know. So ours was the only center who started the post of fellowship in perinatology. For the first 5 years, we had 2 students every year. There were no takers for that. And the exams used to happen with Dr. Gupta and others in the corridor because we couldn't, you know, fend for the exams. And then slowly this grew into a whole bunch of long-term fellowship program, because some of the experiences which we have had in training abroad, being treated as second liners, standing in the corner of an OT, just observing, not getting any hands-on work, and you know, fluctuating self-esteem at that point in time. Can we go back and try this, do this? Those were very, very hard times when we wanted to upgrade our learning skills. So why not have the same training programs within our own country? That was what will set the vision at that time. And slowly now ICOG has really stood strong as one of the most valuable set of training centers that we have, where our own postgraduate students can learn more beyond their medical college career. So that is how the perinatology chairperson's post, which we got because of Professor Rajan, because he wanted to throw a bunch of South Indians into the FOGSI. So I was one of those who were thrown in. So then somebody said, oh, you seem to have used your influence. I said, sir, I want to resign. So he said, why, Hema? What happened? So I said, no, somebody is thinking I've used my influence and got into this position. If there is any way I can fight out for this position, I would rather like to do that. So he said, no, it is by nomination. And way back, you know, the election is so heated up in the country now. It was not quite like this at that time. So then he convinced me to stay on. And that was my first of the posts in FOGSI, after which we grew into learning more and appreciating our parent organization, FOGSI, for opening our eyes on the big canvas of the realities of women's healthcare in India. Sitting in the ivory towers of Divakar's hospital, there was very little chance for me to recognize what is happening outside of it, but it was seriously a jolt when we went to many of the smaller and rural places and actually had a brush with the kind of healthcare and the kind of treatment, not medical treatment, but one-to-one treatment that the women are receiving. And that really shook me up quite a bit. And we said, no, we have to reach the last mile somehow. And now the technology has come to our rescue. And I think the attempts that I failed before to go on site and train in every nook and corner, that was the vision, but it was futile because I knew I couldn't, nobody can give that kind of a time. But once the technology came into the picture, I said, okay, now the doors are closed, but windows are open. We go the skill transfer through the digital platform way. And that's how you've seen Manyata evolve into a mega program, which is, you know, the need of the hour and keeping pace with the rest of the world and running far ahead in the forefront, showcasing India as a role model for many of the South Asian and the African countries. And I love it.
It was something in a very, very short span. Actually, you have covered what we can say ages. So few things to all youngsters. We always listen that children, they have like studied abroad. They don't want to come to their places because they are not that fashioning and they are not 5-star hotels or something airport. Because this is something as a youngster, you also thought for a little while, but that was the work and the involvement that makes you gives you name, fame, satisfaction, contentment. So future is for everybody, and anywhere we are giving. Our job is to give the healthcare. What is our degree? What we can give to the people. So that is a very, very important message to all people, especially the young one who are always glamorized with the cities, with the brand names, and the teaching. So once upon a time, we thought that it is only medical college people who can teach. But if you are a teacher, and a doctor is always a teacher. So when you have any passion to do it, there is always ways, and destiny always helps you. So be it a Dr. Daftari, and how good you mimicked Dr. Daftari's way of saying that was something, the same way of how he used to the same tone and the same accent, and going for the technology. This is something what Dr. CTG learning, going for that, pushing that our society must have the highest technology. Why I'm saying that is so, why it is reflecting and on me as well. Sometime when we do the conferences and something, so somebody says something, yes, we can go do without it. So I say, why? Only they know how to use technology. We will show them that we can do the best. So it is something actually in your what you say, that it is something excellence, achieving for something and working hard for it. It was not easy. It was a working hard for it. It is staying on that we must have, and making presentation for all, rehearsing presentation. So what we say, the spontaneous flow, what Dr. Hema talks spontaneously, how much of hard work, how much of reading, how much of rehearsal is behind that. When we talk Dr. Hema talking advocacy for certain cause. So this is something which is I think that everybody who will be listening today and on the YouTube, that it is not a something talent. It is a something practice, hard work, years of day and night lighting, that what we want to achieve, we must achieve, and how it should be presented to the society. Now with this all, Besoji this year already talked of Manyata, we will say that what any incidents or any flow of event which took you to the social cause, like going to rural area, like going to the small places, like when you were chair, you came to Gorakhpur, that was every city was, and you all the appreciation of a bird mixing with the everyone. We never thought that you are somebody who we have to be fearful of, and we have to give something very extraordinary facilities for you. So at what point of time you were pushed to the social areas and working for the philanthropy, working to the common people? Any incidents, or it was just a thought process?
No, it is that, some 10% of my earnings to be marked for the joy of giving. That was always the calculation right from the beginning. And then, as I said, I was new in Bangalore. I had the organizational work, I had a bit of a practice, but I had a lot of energy, and then I wanted to use every minute for something. So at that time, we established the Divakar Service Trust, and we had a subset of it called Avishkar. I'm very much influenced by Sarvapalli Radhakrishna's readings of how the performing arts and science are two sides of the coin, and I've always grown up with imbibing both simultaneously. So the word Avishkar came out of some cultural events that we used to have way back in, say, GS Medical College in Mumbai. So I used the same terminology, Avishkar, discovery through performing arts and science. And this was the main vertical of our service wing, where we said it has three components: Pragati, Jagrati, and Sanskriti. Pragati is for scientific excellence, Jagrati is for awareness, and Sanskriti is for values and the cultural heritage. And this fell in seamlessly in place. And the connect that we had with many people known to us in the field of music, in the field of theater. And I was very fond of doing the street plays and the Nukkad Natak types to, empower women. And my geography is really bad, Sadhana. When you call me to Gorakhpur, I don't know if Gorakhpur is in which part of the world, but I will always say yes. Dr. Harshit Sanghvi, who is one of my chief mentors from Johns Hopkins, says she will not even listen to what I'm saying or the question fully. She will just say yes. So this happened when he wanted misoprostol tablet from India to do a study in Nepal before the PPH, the role of misoprostol came in. So when he came to Bangalore, he said, no, I want some misoprostol tablets because I have to carry it from here to Nepal for the study. So I said, yeah, I'll get it. So you didn't even ask me how much I want. I want 1 million tablets, Hema. How will you get it? I even then did not recognize what I was committing to. And then we rang up all the distributors. And one of the Cipla distributors was my very dear family friend and a patient. He said, ma'am, don't worry. I will move heaven and earth and get that for you in 3 days from all the distributors. All the samples of misoprostol came. Dr. Sanghvi paid many times extra for the luggage and carried it all the way straight from here to Nepal. And that was the beginning of the PPH and misoprostol study, which was then disseminated in our own country in Goa with all the international speakers coming in. So it's just that, how we jump into a variety of things. And then when we hosted some cultural programs, they said, why are you even getting into it? Because then that time the thing was that many of the Bollywood stars, for example, are very highly and heavily paid, whereas the true classical connoisseurs, especially from the south of India, who are really good, but who can't be so demanding. And so we said it was just a naive thought that, it's good to support. And I always believe in healing through music, body, mind, and soul, etc. So we also had called Joe Monero, who is a music therapist from the American Association of Music Therapy, and we had some workshops. And so it was like, it's such an enriching experience. And all the Indian ragas, how they were used in the NICU in the Western world for the premature babies to, pick on their breastfeeding and the growing. Very, very insightful and interesting and out of the box. Through Prapancha, the world of music, we did some, research on music therapy as well. And so all the way along, the service sector was very, very strongly imbibed because our whole family, whether the Rao family, Ramarao is my dad's name, whole Rao family is that, especially my father's elder brother, he was a revolution for the Kannada culture in Mumbai and always associated with the social work. So it grew with us. We had seen them doing, and we thought that it is a part of us, and we never thought that, oh, we are giving in charity or we're doing something great. These are download. And, when you say mixing and being the same with all the people, in fact, the truth is that we are the same. It's the perception of the people which are different. There's something, she may be stubborn, something this is too high-five, this is too simple, or whatever. It just depends on what they perceive you as, but the core. And it is very, very good to stay like that. Though change is a constant, it's better to just remain as how you are, because that's the simplest way, uncomplicated way of being. Don't waste any energies in fighting with yourself to be what you're not, so that is the really a blessing that I've got. I never thought of, any kind of bias. There was some time one very high-fi patient commented, oh, in her nursing home, when we are waiting, we also have to sit in the same row as some of her middle-class patients, etc. I mean, what kind of a comment that is? You are coming for the treatment, and then that's why I always say, don't bother whether it's in public sector or private sector. Don't worry whether it's in urban or rural. Girls and women everywhere, they deserve what they deserve, and you have to make no distinction. If you're only saying it, but in your mind you're making the distinction, it will not work. It will just not work. You have to think, talk, and act in synchrony. then you will save a lot of energy because there's no clash anywhere, and really you can sleep well.
So actually it is Jagrati, Pragati and Sanskriti. So it is so very important. Actually, nothing is a very small thing, and nothing just ki ye chalta hai. What in all my long journey, when we remember what we say, the Subramaniam evening and the very good classical program in FOG 2003, we can say the Kelu Chandra Mahapatra at Bhubaneswar, and suddenly we see that on demand people are going for the like same Bollywood songs in our conferences and something, and we really remember with a little bit of ache that we had certain time which was soul elevating, soul enriching. After a long scientific day, we were with ourselves. It was reflecting peace, very high thing, something supreme about it. And how you like, not only you cared, you actually worked for it. And very, very rightly said that when with like very shallow and hollow person is earning crores of rupees, we are not looking into the real classical artists, which are our asset and which can groom generations of people to get peaceful and having high character. So that is all interconnected, and the important thing is it is your upbringing and it is your concern and it is your, again, you are giving time for it. You are reaching out. It is not that they will be coming to you. You must have found out the artists. You must have found out them, like, so they come to us. So how a person's simple effort, which looks that it was very simple, easy to do, but that hard work and especially that thought process, which kept you motivating, that our values, our system, our dance, our music have got not only the not only in the for a something entertainment or spending some evening, but is on the healthcare system and our well-being. So that is great. And
true, but I did some crazy things, Sadhana,
yes.
like, when the musical evening, I put up a bone densitometer there. Everybody has to get the bone density test and go in. And then I used to, campaign with some leaflets about HPV vaccine, for example. So every time, checking the height, weight, and BMI, something related to health and this thing, I used to push it into that. So when some of my patients say, oh, you should become like Dr. Hema, I said, you please go and ask my mother. She'll think I'm crazy. You want your daughter to become like me, she has to have a high element of craze in her, then she can do all that I can do. It's like that. So
bone density is a reasonable thing, because somebody will fall and have a fracture. So before going to dance floor, have a bone density. So it has got certain real concern about it. So it is something which is actually inspiring, and always be thinking and be aware of everything. This is a very, very important thing what we are getting from it, that we only know science, we only know very high technology, but we actually don't know what is happening in our neighborhood, what is the problems of our people. And that's very, very important thing when we really want to have our holistic growth for ourselves and for everybody. So in your different language you had, that is very, very important. Few things I would like to have your insight. What made you thought that when I was, because the part of it, then you talked of GDM, and I used to see that many people say it is not there. Oh, it might be in the south because they eat rice. It is not in our country. Likewise, this Dipsy test, you so many, you fought about it. So what make you believe about it, that how you could think out of box and put argument and going despite all the criticism that it is not doable, and you go up to the extent that we have that PHFI certified course for the GDM. So, and that really made a change. So how could you perceive that this is our challenge in our country, and how we can, like you always say, that it is not the putting the problems, find out the solutions, and you are always ready with the solutions. So tell us the secret of how you could perceive the future and the present challenges.
Right. Call it a sweetheart. Sweet disease today, heart disease tomorrow. That sweet heart project which we launched. Okay, but Sadhana, when I said I believe in destiny, I will not be able to give you a single reason how I went to the diabetes in pregnancy conferences right from its inception 20 years ago. I was the only gynecologist from the country who went and attended the DIP meeting. Today, Professor Motherhood is such a dear friend, but he did not obviously know about from who am I and where I am till we got into just before the FIGO circles where we established a GDM working group. So somehow, why I used to go there all by myself, sit in the diabetes in pregnancy conference and, take some ideas. Every 2 years, go there again, go there, but not doing much with it. Once what happened that Western standard says do the 50-gram screening for all women. So once when I went to a medical college to give a talk, I said I do a 50-gram test for all the women. Then there was a loud laughter and they ridiculed and they said that, you're doing it for all patients. Oh, you're doing for all patients. Oh, we only do it for the elderly or those who have a family history and this, that, and the other. I said, no, ma'am, I do it for all the patients. Oh, no, see what she's talking and all that. Then they said, no, we can never do this in the medical colleges, the screening and then the next, the OGTT. So I said, no, these people only want to make excuses. So I was handling about 46 PHCs and one of the major FRUs, rural center, because we had tied up with the Karuna Trust to do some rural work, because they're, somehow to connect with the last mile, connect and collaborate was our philosophy. So every opportunity, proactively going, tapping and trying to find out what best we can do. So there we said, oh, these people are saying we can't do, let's do it in our rural centers. And then, you know what, this is real experience on the ground where we called the patients, we stayed there 2 days, we did the screening, then we said, no, you come the next day because your screen is positive, and only 7 out of 100 women turned up, and out of those 7, we had to take 4 blood samples, but 1 or 2 blood samples, everybody ran away. They said, why is this doctor come from Bangalore and she's just drawing our blood samples every 1 hour like this? What she's doing, first of all, we are pregnant and she's sucking so much blood from us. That was the kind of a comment. Then, we tried again in many different ways in the rural. And then I gave up. I said, no, this we cannot do with the rural. That next year, when I went for the DIP Congress, there was Vijayalakshmi Sheshadri from Chennai who said, you know what, Hema, you must go and meet Dr. Sheshaya. He's the father of diabetes in pregnancy. He's from Chennai, but he will be in the conference in Istanbul. So I went chasing after who is Dr. Sheshaya and I want to meet him. And so that is where I met Professor Sheshaya. And then we talked to figure out how we can expand this program within the country. And I just went for 4 hours to Shanghai to meet Professor Hood because Dr. Anil Kapoor was there. He said, no, you must get in touch with Hema and you all should put your heads together and start this working group in FIGO. And that's how the GDM working group started. And then when we went more and more into it, we recognized that, yes, the single step at least is doable. So as I always say, something is better than nothing. Guys, let's not miss these cases. Let's get moving with that. And of course, as you said, many challenges on getting the frontline healthcare providers across the country to do this test for every pregnant woman. Still, there are challenges and barriers despite working on this for about 12 long years. But more of the challenges also in the anemia care when we bought the parenteral iron, intravenous iron sucrose. That also happened that in a FIGO conference, I was going around in the stalls and then we picked up an ampule. I said, oh, this is so different from Imferons and Jectofers, which are available in our country and which are, guarded use because they can create problems. Why this is not available? They said, no, this is very expensive and then India cannot afford it and all. Then Professor Manionda came. He is my research mentor. He said, you're sitting with such a huge volume of patients and you're not documenting the data and you're not applying your mind to research and this, that, and the other. And that is where we started gathering the knowledge, attitude, and practices, both for GDM and anemia. Then I got the pharma company to convince them to make in India so that it will be available and at a reasonable cost. Again, in all the rural centers, we did a research study and published 3 papers, after which the Tamil Nadu government took cognizance of this, and lakhs of ampules were ordered for Tamil Nadu. And from there, just like diabetes, anemia care also grew at a very rapid pace across the country and have made the policy change. And I can even till today not digest that one simple work which we did in the rural has escalated into such a big movement to, get it into the pens and the practice of so many practitioners across the country and across many low middle income countries. So it just all has to begin with one thought, and one person has to be crazy enough to believe in it and lead it, and then things. But having said this, there are many other crazy things which I've tried to do but failed. But we learn the lessons from there. Maybe this was not the right way, maybe this was not meant to happen. Maybe we will pick it up again in some other form. But your mind is constantly on it, you see. So maybe 50 failures and 1 or 2 successes. If that is the range you're ready to accept in your mind, then people, when they see the success part of this, then, she has a Midas, that she always does whatever is successful. It's not like that. There are many things. Even the hospital app, it miserably failed the first time. Again, lage raho principle. Don't give up. Be persistent. And if it still doesn't have any value, accept that this is not good enough, and you have to try enough before you convince yourself that no, it is now worthy of abandonment. And anything that I talk on any platforms, first I would have burnt my fingers. And once I recognize that no, this is now worthy of sharing with everybody, this is doable, this is useful, then a small pilot project with my trusted champions across the country, including yourself, Sadhana, who have supported so much for all these initial thought-provoking processes, ideas translating into action. And then we escalate and amplify the voice to the rest of the practitioners, because through them, it will reach many millions of girls and women right across the country. So the ABCDE, which you mentioned, that's somehow I coined it, and it's going on since the last 2.5 decades, because those same problems in different perspectives are being tackled, and that forms the key foundation of many of the work done through Artist, which is our research and training organization. And when many people ask me, where is Artist? 2007, when we established, I said, it is here. It is only in my head. It is not an institute. It's not a building, but it's ideas translating into action. That's what Artist is all about. It is having no hierarchy and no mix-up. Anybody who can give us good ideas, taking it to the implementation stage and making an impact, we are open to collaborate and connect with them.
Actually, I has been a very close witness that be it a IV iron sucrose, be it a like fighting for DEPSI, persuading it that it must happen in our country, and be it a manyata. We have seen it was not easy to get into it. You had your tough times, you had your opponents, you had your critics as well, and saying so many things. But what you say, that if you believe in it, if you believe that it is good for everybody, then it was worth it. And many of the people who are using IV iron sucrose and DEPSI in their clinical practice must not be aware how much of hard work and your perseverance have actually paid the role and had made the foundation for it. Likewise, I remember this presidential address when there was the Ghulam Nabi Azad, health minister was there, 1 or 2 actors were there, and by the time you came to address as a FOGSI presidential, all VIPs have gone. And I remember, because you might not be aware, but I have followed you really like a person who is very close to heart, and you say that we don't know where is money, the God will send money for about some project. And then you didn't go for anything which is looking glamorous, which is looking very attractive to all. You go for the Mama Natale, then the HMS, which was the very low resource program, very less funding for the medical college, a working lunch and nothing else. And we could, even we were not aware that it will make us that much of change, and Mama Natale and Neonatale will be the every words, everybody is knowing what it is. So how could you plan your all initiative, though you express in your presidential address, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. But after 3 months, you were pretty sure what you are going to do with all purchase of Mama Natale, and we were all in medical college going from here to there. So how could you
Sadhana,
do
you
this?
have said it. It didn't happen because of me. It happened because of all of you. Because you all went all over the place. And when I said GOK, everybody thought government of Karnataka. Is government of Karnataka supporting you? I said, no, God only knows. That is the GOK. We don't know from what it's going to. But let's start with whatever we have. A bird in hand principle. Don't look for the right time, the right kind of funding, the right kind of people, etc., then it will never happen. So what you have in hand, so this is called the bird in hand principle. It's like, you open the fridge and you see 2-3 ingredients, and then you just gather them and make a recipe out of it and then serve on the table. That's done, because with whatever is available, you've done whatever you could do. Whereas if you say, no, I'll buy a recipe book, then I'll go to the shop, I'll buy this, I'll buy that. Today, this is not available. After 2 days, this will come. And theoretically, you list out everything, and then nicely you put the right proportions and you make it. It may just not taste good enough. So you work with what you have, and you will always have lessons to learn as you go along. So it's always been my habit, you cannot call it impulsive, but plunging into action, because too much of thought process, it's really not me, because you just need some thinking and get into an action. If not, there's something else will work. But at least, to win, you must begin. That is the mantra. So we have to, jump into things, and yeah, there will be some hardships, but even if you plan everything well and do, even then unexpected challenges can occur. So why not, jump into action and not lose time? So every time, even our entire research work is the implementation research, because only when you get in there, something you would have never thought of will come in your way. Something you would never thought of that it'll be so easy. It'll be damn easy to move ahead. So you can, God has his ways, so you have to just go.
Yes. God only wants that we should go on the path which our soul is actually directing, and you were the perfect example for it. So right from FOGSI to FIGO, so that has been a tremendous journey. And what you say, that again, I will just say to everybody that going to the places, it is when the people go to conference, it is for the sightseeing, it is for the stall going, it is for like keeping 1 or 2 points. But how intriguingly you went to the conferences repeatedly and met the right person, that yes, this person has the knowledge and we can do work together. So it is something, again, very, very important, like message which we want to give from all your experience and your experience as FIGO, first FOGSI representative to FIGO, then the co-chair, and now the chair, Women Welfare. And I see in your program, you connect with the African people, you connect with the every sort of people, and also, yes, from the white also. So yeah, that connectivity and that your, again, that stability, that what we want to achieve, we can do at the multiple level in the diverse races and the ethnicity. So your experience in the FIGO, that it was difficult or it is easy to work for the African country, for other South Asian countries, different races. What's your takeaway?
Sadhana, everything is difficult before it becomes easy. So you just get on with it. And if you have a lot of perceptions in your own mind and biases in your own mind, that this is of a different ethnicity, this from a different geographic region, but people are people. The pleasantries are pleasantries, anger is anger, jealousy is jealousy. sleep is sleep. All those things are so common in all human beings. So I think that if we complicate our own thinking, then all these things really become an issue. But if your intent is clear and you focus on what you want to do together, be all inclusive, express your problems that no, this cannot be done in our country, or can you figure out a way how it can be done? And then also, you have to have the real experience of the ground realities. You cannot just go and show off. And then when there is merit, I seriously think that despite anything that you will paint politically or by the economic resources or social situations or anything, the core of it is the merit. If you can deliver, then you are respected and you are wanted. That is at the heart of it, because they know that you're just not talking. That's why I told right in the beginning of the program that if you are walking the talk, then there is no way they can, be thinking that you are dispensable. You'll be a part of all major, because you're contributory, you're useful, your intent is correct. They see that you're transparent and you want to do it. The feel that they get is, no, here is somebody who is really wanting to do something. And I think that is good enough for defining your role in national or international organizations, and you just stay there. And there are some comments, some people telling that there may be too much of racial discrimination. Seriously, I cannot relate to it at all. Whether gender or racial discrimination, it all depends on your experience with them, isn't it? And I'm surprised sometimes when such things are brought to mind. They say, hey, I don't think so. Whether I'm ignoring it or it's not happening to me, I can't really say. But I think by and large, when you get, into some serious discussions and intent, I feel it's a common page for everybody, no matter the caste, creed, geography, affluence, anything beyond all that. And it is basically, you have to look at it that way. Then it reflects. Otherwise, it will not. Otherwise, you will always be, looking beyond what the reality is and imagining things for yourself and unnecessarily complicating. And then also, when there was one situation where they said, oh, he never says hello to me. You can go and say hello to him. Okay, what you expect of others, you can as well do it. Don't say government is not doing. Hey, what are you doing for the people? Oh, organizations are not doing. What are you doing for? So when you come from that point, then you have the control, because it is you who are doing or not doing. So you are responsible and accountable for your own thoughts and actions. You are not expecting that and grumbling that somebody else is not doing. It's okay. It's up to them, but you have to also be. If you don't go and vote and say what the politicians are doing, then that's not right, no? Then you have to do at least that bit from your. So even for women's healthcare, I always very strongly say, don't say that healthcare providers or doctors are doing this, that, and all. What are women themselves doing with themselves? Why can't they walk 2 steps forward? Their health is in their hands. They have to be made to recognize that, and they have to come forward for their own healthcare and not wait till cows come home to see that somebody else will come and do something for them. And even the cost effectiveness, etc. I do not agree at all that we have to do anything with quality at, considering that we have to make it cheap, because the priorities should be set right. They spend so much on so much else, then they have to recognize that this bit they have to invest on their health. This time they have to invest on their health. If they themselves cannot think for themselves, then where are we in the picture? Why blame the system? Why blame ourselves? When if both walk 2 steps ahead in the opposite direction, then we meet at some point.
Actually, that is great. And what is a very important thing? First of all, it is merit, wherever it is. And I'm just reminding of Gandhi and what we have read. one thing, like discrimination was in the English people's mind. It was not in Gandhi's mind, never, despite all the things what were happening in the turmoil of this thing. So very rightly, such an important point that if you are open and you don't have any issue, then it does not exist actually.
Yes.
And second thing, which as a professional body and as a professional person, two things: if we are good in our work, we are good, and we are working for our people, everyone is going to listen to you. If we are working for our people, for underprivileged, for the marginalized population, and we have the merit, the good writing, good presentation, good speaking up of them, no one in the world can actually ignore you, and you are going to lead the way. Likewise, you did. So this is something very, very positive thing, Dr. Hema, you have brought out, because always there are people who want to work for the federation, for the FOGSI, for certain institution, but it is, everything is in your hand, and that makes you confident. Another person can be bitter, but it does not force that you are bitter. Another person can ignore you, but it does not say that you go and pay regards. And the mutual respect, because we are always conditioned, they are not good, then it is all making our roads difficult. Something, a very, very precious thing you have told about it. Finally, we are like already like our time is off what we have allotted. 1 or 2 points before you apart. You have told a lot of things. Any difficult point in the life which you find that it was difficult to cope up with you? And the second question is that we see a lot of people become a lead of the organization, then it's done, and we are seeing you constantly on the move, So what is next in important in your agenda? And one thing, how you coped up the difficult moments in your life? What is the secret so that you are moving sometimes silently and sometimes aggressively?
Okay, as my son says, my mom is very like bindas, the word, she'll climb up Himalayas also. I'm saying, I just climbed up the Himalayas, she doesn't think it's a challenge, it just goes with that. So again, it's in your mindset. If you think it's difficult, doesn't matter. You have already accepted that there are going to be some difficulties. It's not going to be smooth all the time with everybody and every situation. So once that acceptance and adaptation comes, then yes, you have to jump over the hurdles and you have to move. So yes, there have been extremely difficult situations when you feel that, oh, you thought it was more easy, but it's becoming so difficult. And vice versa, when you thought it was difficult, when God makes it so easy for you, why don't you appreciate that? That is also there, that, we have to stand in an attitude of gratitude, really, because there are so many good things happening along the way. And who would have ever thought that, these positions, always, again, two sides of the coin, use or misuse the position. When you can be in the position and use it for a bigger and a better cause, then go for it and do it. Because, that is the role of an influencer and an activist, and the speaking up for our own women and the country's health in general. So difficult moments, yes, I can't pinpoint, because in everything, whether it's a personal life or whether it is the professional or whether it's organizational, there are going to be challenges all the way. It's not that so many challenges were there. Now I have reached somewhere, so now I will not have any challenges. It's never like that. So if you're prepared that at everything, every stage, unexpected or expected, who knew COVID would come? But it came. So it is an unexpected thing that everybody has to wait through, but we did. Okay, we use the time very effectively to do not only the digital transfer of the skills and preparing Corona warriors. Corona is incidentally the sponsor for this event also. So we had the warriors in place, and also the digital skill assessment, which we put in place for the Manyata, which made a total change, and the skill transfer programs which together. So that was the positive of it. So something will come out of things. So don't ever consider that you can have only one smooth ride. Yes, there will be phases when the ride is smooth, but always be prepared for the worst, but also be optimistic that yes, you will. You know, it's more thrilling. It's more adventurous to have a challenge and prove yourself that you can overcome it. That's another way of looking at the challenge. What was the other thing you asked, Sadhana? One was this about these difficulties.
Next in your agenda. What's next in your agenda?
That's why I forgot that question, because I never have next in my agenda. It just comes, tomorrow you may hear me say Femtech is the next in my agenda actually, because it's already in the pipeline, because technology, which I'm so passionate and hooked on, as of now for advocacy we are using, for research and big data we are using, for capacity building we are using. The next thing is devices and point of care, where semi-skilled people and self-care can happen through the novel devices which will come into the market. So FemTech is feminine health and technology. So that is the term which is coined, and we want to be the femtech leaders, showcasing to the world that India is far ahead, and despite all the challenges, we have leapfrogged, making use of the best that is available to us. And seriously, if the awareness and the demand generation is there, and the capacity building and the supply side is strengthened, there can be no looking back. So that probably looks like the big thing on the agenda. Whatever is continuing, see, when we say continuum of care, even in our practice, all those things which we discussed today, it is a continuum. Leadership is not in position, but in action. It is an ongoing, nothing will close in this country in your lifetime. It has to be going on and on forever to get better and better than where we are. Apart from that, yes, and then, we are establishing Namma Arogya Kendra. Namma means like how they say Amchi Mumbai, like that. Namma Arogya Kendra is our health center. I want to saturate the whole of Karnataka with these rural e-clinics, which can connect on the video call with us. This is already happening in 2 places. That's a blueprint which is giving us many lessons. We are connected with the HSSC, or the Health Sector Skill Council, and training the community volunteers as Swasthya Sakhis, who will be empowered. Entrepreneurship, livelihood is the dream. So they will get into being the catalyst, or the rapport between the girls and women in the village and the doctors in the cities, and the specialists who can connect with them seamlessly on the video call, and deliver the best of the care that they would have never expected. So if this works well in the whole of Karnataka, then it will be ready to scale up in the entire country. This is health for her. It's only for girls and women, so that their confidence, confidentiality, and anonymity is maintained, and they feel very special when they come to this center, because they're treated so well. Because treatment for me is not only technical treatment, how you're made to feel, that is treatment. When you go to a sari shop, best of the saris, but if the sales girl or boy, they don't treat you well, then you'll never feel like going back to the shop. You'll say, no, I'll not buy anything from you. It's like that. So treatment, to my mind, is that. And when they have this at their doorstep, that will be the ambition to action is what I would call it. So it is in the making, but you never know what will come along next step, but we are prepared for anything and everything. That's for sure.
So great. So I gave you a message that I am eager and excited to be with you for 1 hour. And we will finish with this note that we are very keen, eager, and excited to listen to your all future plans, all the things which you are aware of, the minuscule human psychology, which is mixing, which is amalgamating so smoothly with the technology, and how we can reach the people. And what is in your mind, it is always the people's benefit, and how we can do our bit, and how we can make the plans and do the things for our country. So it is independent India, it is a developed country, which we look, and we must have the persons, leaders, and the advocate like Dr. Hema Divakar with us. Thank you very much for this wonderful interview. It was great re-knowing you, knowing a person whom you know so well since around 30 years, and it was wonderful. I hope and believe that everyone who is listening to this and will listen will get very, very important points in their life, in their profession, and in their journey. Thank you very much for being with us, and we hope forward for such more opportunities with you. Thank you very
Thank you too, Sadhana. And I believe in the word sadhana, which truly speaks of the commitment and the dedication with which people like you would work together to walk the talk. And as I said, many more things in store for us. So wishing you all the best as well. Thank you.
much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.